Centuries ago, a meteorite made of vibranium, the strongest substance in the universe, crashed into the heart of Africa. 5 African tribes fought over this precious metal, realizing its potential to transform their society. During the conflict, one warrior from the Panther tribe ingested a mysterious, heart-shaped herb that had been affected by the vibranium. This herb granted him superhuman strength, speed, and instincts, transforming him into the first Black Panther, the protector and leader of Wakanda. With his newfound abilities, the warrior was able to unite 4 of the 5 tribes, forming the nation of Wakanda. However, the Jabari tribe, a group of mountain dwellers who opposed the idea of relying on vibranium, chose to isolate themselves in the snowy peaks of Mount Bashenga. Despite their separation, the Jabari maintained a significant presence, often challenging Wakanda's traditions and leadership. Under the first Black Panther's leadership, the Wakandans harnessed the power of vibranium to develop advanced technologies far beyond anything the outside world had seen. Wakanda became a technological marvel, with innovations in medicine, transportation, and energy that were centuries ahead of their time. Yet, to protect their way of life and avoid the exploitation and colonization that had befallen other African nations, Wakanda chose to hide in plain sight. The Wakandans erected a powerful camouflage energy shield, concealing their advanced civilization and posing as a simple, third-world agrarian society. The Jabari, meanwhile, continued to live in the mountains, adhering to their traditional ways and shunning the use of vibranium. Their leader, M'Baku, would come to play a significant role in the future of Wakanda. In 1992, King T'Chaka, the ruling Black Panther, traveled to Oakland, California, to visit his brother N'Jobu, who was working undercover. T'Chaka had been alerted to the possibility that N'Jobu was involved in a conspiracy to smuggle vibranium out of Wakanda. N'Jobu had grown disillusioned with Wakanda's isolationist policies and believed that their advanced technology should be used to liberate oppressed people of African descent around the world. To accomplish this, he allied with Ulysses Klaue, a notorious South African arms dealer, smuggler, and gangster. Klaue had successfully stolen 0.25 tons of vibranium, using it to create a sonic disruptor arm cannon that replaced his left arm, which he had lost in an encounter with the Avengers. When T'Chaka confronted N'Jobu about his betrayal, N'Jobu's partner revealed himself to be Zuri, another undercover Wakandan. Zuri confirmed T'Chaka's suspicions, forcing N'Jobu to confess. T'Chaka, bound by his duty to Wakanda, ordered N'Jobu to return home to face punishment for his crimes. However, N'Jobu, desperate and angry, attacked Zuri, prompting T'Chaka to kill him in self-defense. T'Chaka then ordered Zuri to lie about N'Jobu's fate, telling the Wakandans that N'Jobu had disappeared. Unbeknownst to T'Chaka, N'Jobu had a young son named Eric, who would later become one of Wakanda's greatest threats. Eric Stevens, known later as Killmonger, grew up in the United States, fueled by anger and a desire for revenge. He trained as a U.S. Black Ops soldier, becoming a ruthless and highly skilled warrior. Killmonger carried the scars of his father's death and the abandonment by his Wakandan family, marking each of his kills with a ritual scarification on his body. His ultimate goal was to overthrow the Wakandan monarchy, take the throne, and use Wakanda's resources to ignite a global revolution against oppression. After T'Chaka's death during the events of Captain America: Civil War, his son, T'Challa, returned to Wakanda to assume the throne. T'Challa, a thoughtful and reflective leader, was deeply mourning the loss of his father, while also grappling with the responsibilities of kingship. He was supported by Okoye, the fiercely loyal leader of the Dora Milaje, Wakanda's all-female special forces, who had served as his father's bodyguards. Before his coronation, T'Challa, accompanied by Okoye, embarked on a mission to extract Nakia, a Wakandan spy and T'Challa's former lover, from an undercover assignment in Nigeria. Nakia had been working to dismantle a human trafficking ring, a cause she was deeply passionate about. Despite their romantic history, Nakia and T'Challa maintained a deep respect and care for each other, though their differing views on Wakanda's role in the world often put them at odds. During the coronation ceremony, the tribes of Wakanda gathered to witness T'Challa's ascension. However, the ritual required that any tribe could challenge T'Challa for the throne. M'Baku, the formidable leader of the Jabari tribe, saw this as an opportunity to bring his people back into power. M'Baku, a traditionalist who disapproved of Wakanda's reliance on technology, believed that T'Challa was unworthy of the throne. The two warriors engaged in ritual combat, a fierce battle that tested T'Challa's resolve. Despite the intensity of the fight, T'Challa emerged victorious, but instead of killing M'Baku, he showed mercy, persuading him to yield. This act of compassion would later have significant consequences. After his victory, T'Challa partook in a sacred ritual involving the heart-shaped herb, which granted him the powers of the Black Panther. The herb also connected T'Challa to the astral plane, where he was able to commune with the spirit of his father. T'Chaka advised his son on the challenges of leadership, urging him to be both a king and a warrior. However, T'Challa remained conflicted about Wakanda's isolationist policies, especially in light of Nakia's belief that Wakanda should do more to help those in need around the world. Meanwhile, Ulysses Klaue and Eric Stevens, now known as Killmonger, executed a bold heist at a London museum, stealing a Wakandan artifact containing vibranium. This act set off a chain of events that would lead to a confrontation between Wakanda and the outside world. Klaue, ever the opportunist, planned to sell the vibranium to an American buyer in South Korea. Okoye, using Wakanda's extensive spy network, learned of Klaue's plan and reported it to T'Challa. Wakabi, T'Challa's close friend and the head of Wakanda's border security, had a personal vendetta against Klaue, who had killed Wakabi's parents during a previous vibranium theft. Wakabi urged T'Challa to capture Klaue dead or alive, hoping for justice and closure. T'Challa, Nakia, and Okoye traveled to Busan, South Korea, where Klaue was set to meet CIA agent Everett K. Ross, an American operative with a complicated history with Wakanda. The meeting took place in an underground casino, where tensions quickly escalated into a violent confrontation. In the ensuing chaos, T'Challa pursued Klaue through the streets of Busan, eventually capturing him after a high-octane car chase. Despite his personal desire to bring Klaue to justice in Wakanda, T'Challa reluctantly handed him over to Ross, recognizing the delicate international implications. While in custody, Klaue revealed to Ross the truth about Wakanda, describing it as a technological utopia hidden behind the facade of a poor third-world country. Klaue claimed to be the only outsider who had seen the vibranium mines of Wakanda, emphasizing the vastness of the resource and the power it held. However, before further secrets could be divulged, Killmonger launched a daring rescue mission, freeing Klaue and critically injuring Ross in the process. Rather than pursuing Klaue, T'Challa made the difficult decision to take Ross back to Wakanda, knowing that their advanced medical technology was his only chance of survival. As Shuri, Wakanda's brilliant princess and head of technological development, worked to heal Ross, T'Challa confronted Zuri about the events surrounding Njobu's death. Zuri, burdened by the weight of his secret, confessed that Njobu had intended to use Wakanda's technology to empower people of African descent worldwide. Njobu believed that by arming the oppressed with vibranium weapons, they could overthrow their oppressors and establish a new world order with Wakanda at the helm. However, T'Chaka, valuing the safety and secrecy of Wakanda above all, could not allow this plan to come to fruition. T'Challa was deeply troubled by this revelation, understanding that his father's actions had created a powerful enemy in Eric Killmonger. He also recognized the moral complexities of Wakanda's isolationist stance, which had left countless people around the world to suffer while Wakanda thrived in secrecy. Killmonger, driven by a desire for vengeance and a belief in his father's vision, tracked down Klaue, killing him and delivering his body to Wakanda as proof of his intentions. Killmonger's arrival shocked the Wakandan royal family and tribal elders as he revealed his true identity as N'Jadaka, son of N'Jobu, and his legitimate claim to the throne. Killmonger challenged T'Challa to ritual combat, a challenge that could not be refused according to Wakandan tradition. In the ensuing battle, Killmonger demonstrated his formidable combat skills, ultimately defeating T'Challa and throwing him over a waterfall, seemingly to his death. With T'Challa gone, Killmonger ingested the heart-shaped herb, gaining the powers of the Black Panther. However, unlike T'Challa, Killmonger ordered the destruction of the remaining herbs to prevent anyone else from challenging his rule. With the throne secured, Killmonger set in motion his plan to distribute Wakandan weapons to operatives around the world, aiming to spark global uprisings against established powers. He was supported by W'Kabi, who, disillusioned with T'Challa's leadership and seeking revenge for his parents' deaths, saw in Killmonger a means to finally bring Klaue to justice and protect Wakanda from future threats. Nakia, recognizing the danger Killmonger posed to both Wakanda and the world, fled the capital with Shuri, Ramonda, and the injured Ross. Desperate for allies, they sought out the Jabari tribe, who had remained neutral in the conflict. To their surprise, they discovered that T'Challa had survived his fall, having been rescued by the Jabari as repayment for sparing M'Baku's life during their earlier duel. Nakia used the last remaining heart-shaped herb to heal T'Challa, restoring his strength and powers. Reinvigorated, T'Challa returned to Wakanda, determined to reclaim his throne and stop Killmonger's plan. The final battle for Wakanda erupted in the Vibranium mines, with T'Challa and Killmonger donning their respective Black Panther suits. The battle was fierce, with T'Challa's forces, including the Dora Milaje and the Jabari tribe, clashing with Killmonger's supporters, led by W'Kabi. Shuri, Nakia, and Okoye played crucial roles in the fight, with Shuri using her technological expertise to disrupt Killmonger's suit and give T'Challa the upper hand. In the end, T'Challa defeated Killmonger, mortally wounding him. Despite his victory, T'Challa offered to heal Killmonger, who refused, choosing to die as a free man rather than live in captivity. Killmonger's final wish was to be buried in the ocean among his ancestors who had chosen death over bondage. In the aftermath of the battle, T'Challa recognized the need for change in Wakanda. He understood that his father's isolationist policies had contributed to the rise of Killmonger and that Wakanda could no longer remain hidden from the world. With a new sense of purpose, T'Challa established an outreach center in Oakland, at the very building where N'Jobu had died. The center, run by Nakia and Shuri, would serve as a beacon of hope and progress, sharing Wakanda's knowledge and resources with the world. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more amazing recaps and analyses of the latest movies, and hit the bell icon to stay updated. This is Real Recap. See you next time.